Hey y'all, so it is now the weekend after Thanksgiving, and today I am working on, we got a 2005 Kia Amanti. This was my in-laws car. Now the history behind this car is my in-laws had passed away. My mother-in-law passed away a couple years ago. My father-in-law passed away just this, I think it was in July. This car has been sitting for a real long time, so my wife's a little torn on it. I've been kind of torn on it as well. Let me show you what I have here. Okay, so like I said, it's a 2005. The car's got a lot of rust on it. It's in pretty rough shape body-wise. The only reason why I am even remotely considering, or I remotely considered keeping this car, because even though it's a 2005, this car only has 64,000 miles on it. It runs really good, but it's been sitting for a real long time, so the thing's got mildew and crap all over it. The mice have really kind of had a field day inside the car. The car inside of the car just smells like mouse piss. You know, it needs a lot of TLC. There's the MIL lights are illuminated right now. What else? The airbag light is on, and I think it's all just stuff because the car sat. This car never got driven, and I think that's really kind of where we are right now, is trying to figure out how bad is this. And you know, the body, yeah, it's got some rust spots in it. Let's see where we got some over here in the rear quarters, a little bit right here. I see some spots there, up into there. Inside the trunk, I pulled everything out of the car because I'm just trying to clean the mess out of it. There's a little bit of rot in this rear quarter over here. You're starting to see it right there. You know, get some trim pieces that are kind of coming loose. But interior, it's a decent looking car. And you know, it just needs some cleaning. It needs definitely some TLC because it's been sitting for a while. But 64,000 miles on it. That's it. Starts right up. Had a little bit of a tick when we first started it. But after it idled for a little while, that kind of settled out. I'm just thinking there was a lifter that was sticking or something. I mean, I'm gonna have to go through and do some fluid changes and everything, but it actually isn't in bad shape. But it is just covered. I had to take all the plastics off of here just to get at the engine. I still got another piece to remove. There's mouse crap all over everything. I'm picking nuts out of it. The air box was full of crap. What else? I had to put a battery in it. So that's what I'm into the car for right now, is a battery. Now, visually the car, you know, like I said, it's got some rough spots in it and stuff, but it's not too bad. However, my understanding is that the undercarriage of this car has got some issues. And that's really kind of where I'm trying to figure out now. I know a couple years back, they had to replace the whole front subframe on this car because it rotted through and the front end of the car actually collapsed on itself. So it's got a whole new subframe in there, even though when they put it in, they didn't paint it or anything, and I'm noticing that's already starting to rust up just from sitting. Car's got new brakes on it. Those brakes were all done based on the paperwork I'm seeing about 6,000 miles on it ago. The rear subframe, however, I think is very questionable, and that's the area that I'm a little concerned with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the car up onto some ramps and see if we can get a peek under there and see what we got. Get a little bit closer view on that. Let's see. Tapes in there. No. The CDs in there. No. It's got dual climate control plus controls for there's AC vents in the back. Why is the CD player kicking on? There's no CD in there.
That's part of the discussion. There is a checklist when the teams are comparable. You don't need a checklist when you're comparing a team that's 12-0 against a team that's 6-6. Of course.
But as you can see, airbag light, check engine light. So let's turn this around. So airbag light, check engine light. So the airbag, I haven't been able to pull codes yet because my code reader doesn't read the ABS systems and that. But I do see in the receipts that they did have it at the shop to look at it, and the error codes were like 0402 and 0405 or something like that. Basically it was left and right bank. I got to read into it a little bit more. The message that when I Googled it, it looks like it implies that, you know, a loss of power. Well, the car has had a dead battery for who knows how long. I'm not sure if that's something that'll clear once I can get a code reader that'll read that and clear them. That's what my, you know, what I'm going to try doing is just clearing those codes. The MIL light for the emissions, however, what I'm seeing is a 320, a P0320, which is the ECM can't determine engine speed. So I'm thinking maybe crank sensor or cam sensor. The other thing I noticed is the tachometer seems to work intermittently. It was working. I started it up and I snuck it home last night in the dark because I don't even have a plate on the car at the moment, but I got the car back to the house, and then on the way back I noticed that the tachometer wasn't working at all. It came on for about a half a second and then cut out again. So I'm not sure, you know, I'm hoping it's like either a crank sensor or a cam sensor. I'm just going to order the two sensors. They're not that expensive. You know, they're probably about 50 bucks each. I'm just going to get those and replace them both just to try to rule that out. But it's just a shame because the car, like I said, 64,000 miles on it. It's just, it's a shame to junk this thing. But the rear subframe, and I think once we get under there and show you that is going to be, that's going to really be the deciding factor, because based on the pictures I saw from the garage, that looks pretty rough. It might be something that we could weld up some patches into. I do see some some rot in the floor underneath the back seat. You know, from the underside I can see it, so I'm sure it's pretty rough back there. But if I can at least get that patched together, this would be a great second vehicle just to have around the house, you know, for whatever time I have to, you know, when we need another vehicle for whatever reason. You know, there have been times where I've had the Jeep in the shop and I didn't have something else to drive, or if my wife's car has problems, we got another vehicle in the driveway besides the ones we already have. I mean, we already have 4 vehicles registered. It's not like we need a 5th, but this would be this is a nice luxurious car. This would just be a nice one to keep around, especially with the mileage it has. It's just such a shame to trash this car. So the shop that did the work on it, you know, they basically gave us an estimate, or they gave the estate an estimate because of the condition of the car. They gave it $500 scrap value. So unfortunately we do have to sell the car. We can't even donate it because we're trying to straighten out all the estate stuff. So we're just keeping the car at this point. But I want to go through this and try to see if I can salvage this car. All right, so here's what I'm finding.
I mean, this all looks pretty solid. This is a little bit questionable here.
This looks like it's kind of almost like a subframe for the rear suspension. That's pretty rough. It's savable. I know that these links I can get. I saw those listed online. This subframe, I'll have to see. This is a little bit rough right there. I see a little bit of rot right here in the frame. That's, yeah, brake line there. Yeah, when I went to put this thing up onto the ramps, it blew out the rear brake line. So, but yeah, there's another spot right here. Let's see what this looks like. Let's see. Other than that, I mean, it's not super bad, but it's definitely rough. It's definitely rough, especially right in here. This hole, these arms, and everything. Like I said, these I can get. That's minor. But these control arms, which also look like they have the ball joints in them, or these A-arms, or whatever you want to call them. Their suspension arms, they look pretty rough. Backing plates on the brakes are really rotted. But other than that, I mean, there's a couple little spots on the floor, but it actually is in way, it's kind of much better than I was expecting. I was expecting it to be a little worse. Let's see. Do I see anything here that's really kind of jumping out at me? Yeah, see, this backing plate's completely gone. Wow. So, pretty much rear suspension. Yeah. I bet you if I could find this cross member, this bolt-in cradle here for the arms. Yeah. If I can find this bolt-in cradle for the arms, that would be it. That's pretty much all it needs. Other than that, and now the broken brake line. So I'll have to take that plastic thing off and get under there because the brake line's shot. Exhaust is kind of questionable. I mean, it's rough, but it's not. The muffler looks good, but this pipe, you see, it's been patched over here. So yeah, I think I just want to see if I can find a whole rear cradle for this. Other than that, it's solid. Okay. All right, so it's been a few weeks since I shot that section of the video, and I was able to find some of the stuff. So let's kind of take a look here really quick. So right here I have new lower control arms, new lateral. I got a set of lateral links here. That was for that. So lower control arms, trailing arms. So those, and then a set of new upper control arms. So basically all those pieces there. The only thing I didn't get was the struts, the cross member. Let me turn around here. The cross member, I thought I lucked out and was able to get that because I found it on a Kia website, Kia parts website, and it was only like $350 plus shipping. So I had ordered that, but unfortunately I got notified a couple days later that that part had been discontinued and was no longer available. So I hunted around a little bit. I found there's another website I go to look up parts, you know, from junkyards and stuff. They have a database, you know, from junkyards all over the country. So I looked at that site and was able to find another Kia Amanti. I think it was a 2006. 2004 to 2006, these cars are the same. So I found another one up in Belchertown, Mass, and they had listed the rear suspension, you know, was like $250. So I had contacted them, and then again after a day or so I found out that that particular part was no longer available, that they must have sold it or something. But another search, I found another junkyard in California that had one, and was able to buy that one. When I looked at the tracking information today, that looks like it's it was expected today, but it looks like it's like right now it's over in Middletown, Connecticut, which is not my local FedEx. It's coming FedEx ground. It's not my local FedEx distribution center. So I'm anticipating I'll probably have it on Monday. Today's Friday. I don't think it's going to get here today, but I should have it on Monday. The pictures, they already had it out of the car and had it all set to go. Literally when I bought it, you know, when I contacted them and purchased it, you know, I had tracking information within a couple hours, and then I've been watching it come across the country. But I'll have those pieces. I should have that on Monday. And then there's just a couple little more things there. So I did look at the MIL light, and that's been resolved. I'll show you that here. All right, so another thing's wrong with the car is these hood props don't want to stay up anymore in the cold weather. So the 0320 turned out to be this sensor right here. This is a engine misfire sensor, and I'm actually glad it turned out to be this one, simply because the crank sensor and the cam sensor in this thing look like they're a nightmare to change. But this one here, it's just 2 bolts and a clip, and was able to pop that out. I had this thing swapped in 5 minutes and cleared the code, and that's all set. Okay, and what I did figure out, so I was able to clear that MIL light, the airbag light. So I finally got a code reader that would read the airbag system, and what I found is in the passenger seat here, there's a sensor in the seat that detects if somebody is sitting in the seat, and it activates that airbag circuit if it detects pressure on this seat where somebody's in it. That sensor is bad. Now that sensor, it's integrated into the seat. It's between the foam and the fabric itself. So you'd have to take the whole seat apart to get at that sensor. Not something I'm going to worry about right now. It's not going to be, you know, critical. I did find a company that has a company online that has a little module that you can unplug that sensor and plug this that's their little module into it, and what it does is it basically fools the computer into thinking someone is always sitting in the seat. So that would make the light shut off. The only drawback to that is if I were to get in a front end crash with this car, that bag will blow thinking that there's somebody sitting in the seat, even if somebody isn't. So not a big deal, but that's, you know, that I can live with that. Other than that, it's, you know, I still got to fix the brake line, stuff like that. I had a little bit of a setback, so it's been a few weeks since you know, I started on this, and it's been kind of sitting since. I've just been kind of ordering stuff online. I've had some problems with my knee, which has kind of put me on the disabled list for a few weeks. I'm still hobbling around on the crutches a little bit, though it is feeling a lot better now. But it's definitely now it's starting to get a little too cold to work out in the driveway, and unfortunately I don't have the room in the garage to get this car in there right now. So this probably is going to stall out about here for now, and I probably won't get this car back together until the spring. But yeah, I think you know, we're almost there. I got a lot of the pieces for the rear suspension. That cross member should be here on Monday. I didn't order
knuckles for it, because the knuckles, you know, they're a little scaly, but they don't look that bad. I didn't order the backing plates and a few other things. I'm gonna wait until I get it fully apart to determine what other parts I want to replace. To replace the backing plates, you got to pull the hub assembly apart and stuff like that. I may just live with it like that for a little while and wait until it needs struts. The back of the rear struts don't seem that bad, so I'm not looking to replace those just yet. I think that, you know, when it comes time to replace those struts, I'll pull the knuckles apart, put new hubs in there with new backing plates, and that should be good to go. But other than that, I think, you know, I got most of what I need to get this thing back together, and I'm not into it for a lot of money. I think, you know, all in all, with the, you know, probably it's a little over $1,600 now, and that includes the $500 that we paid the estate for the car. So that's it. As always, thanks for stopping by. Please like and subscribe, and until next time, keep wandering.